Okay, well here we are for another installment of my Chicago Marathon uh, vlogs or tapes, whatever you want to call them. So today I figured we'd talk about shoes. Um, when I first started, I used a brand, Saucony, and they were okay. But then I went to a running store, and they turned me on to Brooks, which have been really good. So the first shoe that I used was this one right here. So it's the Ravenna 8. It's a really nice shoe. It is a really stiff shoe, really nice. It felt really energetic. It's got a DNA sole. You can kind of see it right there. DNA. And there's what the bottoms look like, but they're a little bit wore just because I wore these a lot. And I will say this is a 10.8 ounce shoe, which isn't the lightest shoe out there, but it's not the heaviest shoe. And I'm just going to give you my personal opinion on these shoes, not so much of the tech specs, just because I think you can look those up. And I will say it's 10.8 ounces. It's got a nice upper, but I will say when I use these a lot, right in here, where this kind of shiny rubber meets the upper, this is where they would wear, right in here. These held together really good though, and I use these. I ran a lot of miles in these, as you can see by the bottoms. They're really comfortable. They've got a great heel cup. It's really comfortable. It's really got a lot of padding in there. It's kind of a moderate cushion, I would say, down here. The sole isn't too big. But my only complaint with these shoes was I noticed if I ran far, when I first got them, I wasn't running that far. I was only doing between maybe 15 and 18 miles a week. No problem. But when I really started running far, these are for a low to mid arch, and I have a high arch. They were still comfortable, and they were still fast and light, and I felt really good in them. But on longer runs, when I started running in the 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, I noticed my arch was a little, and my Achilles in these. My right Achilles was a little bit sore. So that's when I went on the Brooks shoe finder, the website from brooksrunning.com, and it was really close to what I was, because then after I went on to Brooks shoe finder, I got turned on to the Levitate 2, which is right here. There's a DNA amp soles. Now these, ironically, are the heaviest shoe I have, but they actually feel like the fastest shoe when I'm running. They got a pretty springy sole. It's not as stiff as the Ravenna 8 or the Hoka I'm going to review. So it's an 11.2 ounce shoe, which is actually pretty heavy, but I will say when you're wearing these, you can really feel the road, and you can really move with these. When I put these on, when I first got them, I set a bunch of new personal bests, which could have been too that I started training longer. I started running a lot farther. I went up to probably 26 to 30 miles a week when I got these. Very comfortable shoe. They've got a really nice knit upper. You can kind of see that. And so far, I put a lot of miles on these, and they're really, you can see they're in good shape. And the tread is in good shape. And these have quite a bit of miles on them. They're really fast. And so one thing I really like about them is they have this Achilles guard with this, and if you can see down in here the cup, you can kind of see that the heel cup, there's like this ridge right here. Very comfortable, and it's a really nice tight fit. The heel is really securely in there, and I like the toe box. Everything about this shoe is comfortable, but it's a heavy shoe. 11.8 ounces. It's the heaviest shoe I have, but again, this thing really doesn't feel that heavy. I use this shoe for shorter to medium runs if I'm going to go fast. I have worn them a couple times when I've ran 13 and 15. They're okay. They hold up, feet stay comfortable, but they're really a fast shoe. So the last shoe I'm going to do that I use is this beast over here. Now this thing looks like a brick, if you ask me. This is my Hoka One One Bondi 6. Now the reason I got these was for longer recovery runs. When I'm running slower after a big run, I like to wear these because it's a maximalist shoe. Actually, I think this is, for how it looks, this is the lightest shoe I own. 10.2 ounces. It's got a really nice sole. You can kind of see it there. Nice tread pattern. Now, it's what they call a meta rocker, so when you're hitting, it kind of rocks. It makes the transition from like kind of your run easier. Very comfortable shoe. And it's really, really maximum cushion. Stiff, really stiff, so very comfortable. And only comes in, believe it or not, this is the lightest shoe at 10.2 ounces. So it's a full ounce lighter than the Levitate 2. But I'll tell you, I've worn it for recovery runs so far. But I have put a 10 mile and a 13, and it held up fine. And I actually was able to go pretty fast. I sped up in the middle of those runs, and very comfortable shoe. Now this shoe took about 4 runs. So the first run I put 10 miles, it was fine. The third, fourth, and the fifth run, it like up in here, like on here, like my toe, my big toe, was a little bit sore. I will say this shoe took about 5 runs to break in, but now that I've gotten past 5 runs in it, I have nothing to complain about. This shoe is really nice. Again, it doesn't feel like it's your heel is going to be securely in there. When you lace them up, though, it's really secure. So it's a very comfortable shoe. If you need a recovery shoe for something long and slow, these are great. So those are the 3 shoes that I use right now. I'm thinking about a couple other ones. I will say, back to the Brooks website, which was really close, because I went to the running store to get the Hokas, and they put me on the computer, that the machine, they called it Albert or something like that. The Brooks website, when it did its little assessment of, you go through the steps, it was really close to what was recommended by the computer at the running store. So if you're in the market for Brooks, I can tell you, if you go to their website and you're worried about like your fit or what you're going to be using them for, if you're getting a little more serious, that website was pretty close. But I would still recommend. I really like going into the store. I really liked seeing what my feet, the arch, I liked seeing where my pressure points were, how neutral my feet were. I did like seeing that. So that was, I would recommend, if you have a store near you that you can go to, do that, and it'll be really good for you. So that's my take on the 3 shoes I'm using now. If I get any more, I'll probably throw a review up on them. So hopefully that'll help you guys out if you're looking for some running shoes. Like I said, as far as the rest of the tech specs go, I'm just telling you what they feel like for me. All 3 are pretty comfortable. I would say the Ravenna 8, just watch out if you got a high arch. On the longer runs, it's going to be a little not enough shoe for you, I think, on the sole. But the Levitate 2 and the Bondi 6 from Hoka, great shoes. So there you have it. That's my take on my shoes. And stay tuned. Next week, I'll have another video up as we keep progressing towards the 2019 Chicago Marathon.